So, we're always going to choose Elmari's good friend, Kerr is. My cheeks grew warm as I glanced at Kerr's sleeping face. From the beginning, he had caused me much trouble and vexation. Petty arguments, bickering, and bringing out our most irritable sides. And yet, he could be surprisingly sweet and considerate at times. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew I cared for him a lot. I guess I can remain here for a few more minutes. Ah. Alright, now we'll go to the next scene. So now there aren't any more choices, but I'll bring you to the next scene that changes because we're on Kerr's route now, officially. No, I've been trying all day and still no luck. There needs to be some sort of distraction. I can't check when there's armed knights everywhere. Kerr made a fist and rotated his wrist. We can always plan an ambush. No violence. I don't think Elmari would approve. Plus, we still need to confirm if the cargo is indeed dragon remains. And if it is... He scoffed and jabbed his chest with a thumb. We seize it. Even dragon remains contain some magic. They might fall into the wrong hands. Right. I gripped my badge worryingly. Then the mission would be considered a failure. However, this is more important right now. Are you sure? I mustered a smile to reassure him. A minor setback. You can count on me, Kerr. Now we need some sort of distraction, without resorting to brute force. We exchanged blank stares, and I realized that neither of us could prepare a proper plan. We both sighed, at a loss. Elmari could probably come up with something. Right, leave it to us. He'll devise a tactic. His ears perked up and he angled his chin in the direction of the carriage. They're gathering everyone. You should head back. Of course. Thanks for looking for me, Kerr. Surprisingly, he leaned in and gave me a friendly head put. Be careful. I will. I stood up and brushed the dirt off my knees before assembling with other knights. Okay, now we go to the next scene, which will be right after the fight. Alright, here's the next scene. Fortunately, we did not remain long in Oliver. We were able to find a Barry resident who had delivered the last of his cargo to the city, and he offered us a ride back. We took it easy as we relaxed on the back of the wagon. I was still emotionally fatigued, but did my best to remain engaged in the conversation, especially since it now tackled more sensitive issues. The wagon ride was smooth, but whenever a jolt or bump happened, I would stir or bolt upward. However, I was able to have a nice nap for a while. My eyelids fluttered as I heard Elmari and Kerr's voices drift in and out. Bringing it up to Master Arcelio, it's about time that the Seraphis looked beyond the Skylands. Good luck getting them involved, pompous dragonkind. What really concerns me is how Heavenkind are even found the Seraphis' remains. They shouldn't have had any means of accessing them. I'll see if Master Bedros will arrange a meeting. Right, and I'll have to break this to Master Kaya gently. She'll be even more reluctant to get involved. I can imagine her reaction. Oh my, this is why you shouldn't interact with Heavenkind. The high-pitched voice caused Elmari to burst out laughing. She doesn't sound... Okay, she does. You're more observant than I thought. I heard an exasperated groan. Because she's always with Master Bedros, and I'm stuck listening to her uptight... Ah, you're up. Planning to sleep the whole afternoon away? I yawned, rubbing my eyes as I surveyed our location. We were passing through the birch forest near Barry, and I was leaning against Kerr's shoulder. See, that's what's different in this scene. Cute. Elmari was sitting across from us, his hands folded on his lap. Yeah, I'm up. What were you two discussing? Just a lot of stuff we have to do once we return. Sooner the better. His face fell as he said that, but he forced a smile to reassure me. And Kerr was entertaining me with his imitations. I wasn't even trying, but I could probably do better than Aura. I thought back to the scene in the forest where I poked fun at him during a meal. I admit it wasn't the most accurate impression. Kerr grinned teasingly. Hi, I'm Aura from Barry. I let my sword do the talking and… Ow! I elbowed him and grumbled. I deny all of that. Almari found the whole thing amusing. Me, imitate me! Kerr and I exchanged a smirk. I have a question. I have another question. I do not ask that many questions. Do I? Almari, that was another… Ugh! The wagon bumped abruptly, and I bolted upright, clutching my chest to quell my reaction. A sturdy hand grabbed my shoulder, and Kerr eased me back into my original sitting position. Whoa. You okay? It was only a jolt. I heard the driver apologize while I waited for my heart to calm down. Yeah, I just didn't expect it. As I trailed off, I turned towards Kerr, only to see his face peering at mine, causing my cheeks to blush. I quickly glanced away. Aw, he's blushing too. I heard a polite cough as Lamar interrupted the flustered atmosphere. I hope you don't mind me asking, where did this fear of earthquakes originate? Alright, you already heard the story, so on to the next scene! Alright, so now we're here, visiting our dragon buddies for the last time. And so first, this time, since we're going on Kerr's route, the first person we visit is actually Almari. So Almari was settled by one of the apple trees, its orange leaves visible even in the dark. Instead of waiting for me to sit down, he got up and eagerly approached me. Thank you. Thanks for coming out to see me. I wasn't sure if I should bother you at your house. I wouldn't have minded, soaking in the scenery one last time. Yes, I love it here. I'm not sure when I'll be allowed to visit another Heavenkind town again. I couldn't hide my… what? I missed it, no. Without warning, Almari embraced me tightly. I'm really going to miss you. I wanted this journey to go on forever. Same here, Almari. How long will you be gone for? You'll be allowed to visit at least, right? I'll do everything I can. I'm going to see if I can encourage writing and recording in Heavenkind culture. It'll probably lessen the roles of knowledge keepers somewhat, but then it'll allow us more freedom. We let go, his hand still clutching my shoulders. Almari, it sounds like you're going to change the system. Of course. It won't happen overnight, of course, but I'll be sure to promote more Heavenkind and Dragonkind interaction. If you're up for reading lessons, I'll promise I'll write letters to you. I'm not even sure how they'll arrive where you are. I'm guessing you don't have an address? An address? His lips quivered and he hugged me again. Oh, Almari. This is so unfair. You still have so much to teach me. About Heavenkind? About you? I know. Believe me, I feel the same way. I rubbed his back comfortingly, letting my fingers comb through his hair. I devoted my memory to the form of his figure in our embrace. Nothing more needed to be said, and we remained in a hug for a few more minutes. When Almari's shoulders stopped trembling and his breathing became calmer, I slowly stepped back, dropping my arms. I really can't thank you enough for everything. I'm grateful that I got the chance to join you and Kerr. At least you two will stick together from now on, right? A pained look appeared on his face. Yes, but what about you? I'll be fine. I'll keep myself busy. You won't be the only one with your hands full. That reminds me, where is Kerr? I need to say goodnight to him too. I think he's closer to your home. Huh? I thought he'd be farther away. He likes the pastry scent that your house has. Figures. He burst out laughing. Remembering the blanket, I draped it around Almari. You sure you won't be cold out tonight? You could always spend the night indoors. He shook his head, but held the blanket close to his chest. Kerr and I will be fine. I'll see you in the morning, Aurelie. I departed on a high note. Now I just have to find Kerr. Almari was right about Kerr loitering near my house. In fact, he was resting against the wall outside as I peered around the corner. Surprise visit! Stealth is my strong point. He arched an unimpressed eyebrow. It wasn't surprising at all. I heard you stomping all over town. I was not stopping. I was walking normally. I plopped down in front of him, resting on my knees. He was sitting cross-legged, his hands gripping his ankles. Looking forward to being back to normal tomorrow? I half expected a blunt yes or a grumbling agreement. Instead, I was answered with awkward silence. Kerr? He snapped out of his trance. I guess. At least I won't be pathetically weak. Believe me, you are still plenty strong in this form. You'll probably lose your ability to punch, though. Can dragons even do that? I'll be the first one to try it. He made a fist and mimed a fake punch to my forehead, nudging it softly. I giggled. Now it's coming down to this. I guess I might as well say a few things. I smirked and peered at him knowingly. Is this another reluctant confession? He let out a sheepish guggle. Oh, whoa. He let out a sheepish chuckle. More willingly, promise. I wanted to say thanks for everything. I admit I was a pain at first. I probably didn't make it easy for you, right? Right. You didn't have to agree that quickly. I guess I really was quarrelsome. I regret not opening up to you earlier. I feel like I created a lot of unpleasant memories. I gave him a light punch in the arm to dissuade his conviction. What are you talking about? I look fondly on them all, even our bickering and petty arguments. I like to think we've matured since then. At least a little. Speaking about confessing, there's a small question that has been nagging me ever since we met. I never asked because I knew you'd get upset. I'd like to think that the Kerr now will answer differently. He pricked up quizzically. And what's that? Can I touch your ears? His hand met his face and he groaned loudly. Oh, fine. For just a moment. Still on my knees, I positioned myself so I could lean over better and extended my arms. He glowered at me in disgruntlement, but I ignored his expression as my fingers rubbed the shale-like material. Wow, they really are as hard as rock. As I let my fingers graze the grooves and crevices, Kerr's irritation vanished and his eyes lingered downwards to my neck. Wondering if I was making him uncomfortable, I let go, but he reached out and enveloped my back with his arms, pulling me close. Kerr. His jaw brushed against my neck, and I felt something moist grazed my skin. My body turned rigid, and my mind screamed alarm bells. Whoa! I instantly pushed him and fell on my rear, shuffling back and wiping my neck frantically. What are you doing? Aura. Oh gosh, the comment about dragons eating Evan is right.
Whoa.
Aura! I don't taste good, I swear. I work out a lot, so I'm probably all tough and... Calm down, I thought we were companions, how could you? It's not like that! This proclamation startled me, and I allowed myself to relax.
Sorry about that.
Sorry for my overreaction. Kerr gave me a pained look, then gingerly grabbed my hand.
Look,
I promise I won't do it again, if you don't panic. Right. He held me close once again. This time I remained quiet, although my heart still fluttered wildly from our proximity. I heard a deep chuckle in his throat. For someone who can remain composed in battle, you sure act irrationally when it comes to affection. I'm sorry, it's not something I'm used to. Neither am I. Seriously, that took all of my courage just to... Hesitantly, he lowered his head, pausing a moment before delicately nuzzling my neck with his nose. He stopped and rested his chin on my shoulder. Heavenkind have such short necks. Pardon me for not being born a dragon. He pulled away, gazing into my eyes with a pained expression. Oh, Kerr. Why weren't you? Huh? If you were an earth dragon, I would have asked you to be my... He trailed off and gave me a defeated smile, resting his forehead against mine. I wish I didn't feel this strongly for you. It's going to make saying goodbye that much harder. Aww. How would a Heavenkind express this feeling? I could feel my cheeks burn up as I thought of an answer. Pushing aside the butterflies in my stomach, I closed my eyes and tilted my head. Like this. I delivered a light kiss to his lips, and I could feel his body go rigid momentarily before he reciprocated. I threw my arms around his neck, and he simply cradled me close. I was not sure how long I remained in his embrace, but I knew I couldn't stay there forever. He carefully pulled away and stood up. Night, Kerr. I'll see you in the morning. You're not staying? Despite his yearning plead, I remained firm with my decision. I've said this before, Heavenkind don't nestle together. I trailed off when I realized the situation might be different between two people in love, and my heart beat frantically. Good night, Kerr. Aww. I hastily retreated to my bedroom, trying to quell these flustered emotions. Nothing would have happened anyways, would it? Even so, I wasn't prepared to spend the night with one person. Everything I read about the Night Code of Conducts never covered this, and my mom's advice with men could only help me so far. I had no idea how to react in this situation, and I didn't want Kerr to see me so anxious. I felt guilty for immediately retreating, but I needed time. Crawling into bed, I propped up my scabbard next to the frame, so it was always within reach, and curled up under the blanket. As my feelings eventually settled down, I was able to fall into a dreamless sleep. Although I was slowly waking up, my body felt heavy, and I wasn't looking forward to the day ahead. I would have to say goodbye to both Kerr and Almari. I exhaled loudly, but then chided myself for feeling down already. Terrible. At least see them off with a smile. I wonder how Kerr... As I removed the blanket, it was pinned under something. I looked back curiously. Kerr was kneeling beside the bed, upper body resting on the mattress and fabric with his head in his folded arms. His closed eyes were partially obscured by his brown hair. What? Instinctively, I reached for my scabbard, but my hand only met air. I ended up toppling off the bed in my rush, hitting the floor with a thud. The noise caused Kerr to stir. I didn't see my sword anywhere during my frantic search. Kerr opened his eyes and sat up while I stared at him in bewilderment. What are you doing here? I immediately hushed up, lest my parents heard. Where's my sword? It was here when... Kerr gave me a sheepish look. Sorry, I know you'd probably skewer me first and ask questions later, so I moved it. Skewering you would be completely rational in a situation like this. What are you doing here? Sneaking into someone's bedroom is... Kerr balked and rubbed his head bashfully, leaving his hand on his forehead. I'm aware of that. I didn't want to spend the last night away from you. And you would have refused if I asked. Well, yeah. I rubbed my face, taking in a deep breath, reminding myself that there was a conflict in how I expressed endearment. From his point of view, I was probably being distant, while for me, he was invading personal space. We needed a way to meet in the middle. I solved that predicament by throwing a pillow at him. Don't do that. Ask next time. Kerr tossed the pillow back, and I caught it deftly. It might be a while before I even get the chance to ask you again. Good. I might be mentally prepared to say yes then. And to think that it used to be you that hated being touched. Because Dragonkind bond through touch, and you wouldn't get your grubby hands off me at the beginning. I reflected back to the situation, and realization hit. Now that I think about it, sorry, I didn't know. Didn't mean to make it awkward for you. I still have a lot to learn about Dragonkind. Kerr's finger grazed one of his ears pensively. Do the differences bother you? I chuckled and casually tossed my pillow back on the bed. Of course not. Despite some blunders, we'd always strive to understand each other. Even if Dragonkind and Heavenkind express their affection in different ways. He approached me and comfortingly placed his hands on my arms. He leaned in, his face inching closer to my neck before he paused, gauging my reaction. I shyly turned to the side, feeling my cheeks grow warm. Instead of a nudge like I was expecting, it was a gentle kiss, and he pulled away. His tender expression melted into a wry smile. Thanks for not panicking this time. Thanks for actually giving me a moment to get my bearings. I'll try not to be so nervous next time. We'll definitely be able to see each other again soon, right?
Leave it to me.
Promise. We fell silent, simply enjoying each other's company until one question had pestered me for long enough. I tilted my face so it was closer to his ear. Kerr, where did you put my sword? He chuckled nervously and I saw his face turning towards the window. You did not. If I kept it in your room, you would have... I gave him a gentle shove and scurried off the bed. Go fetch Almari. I'll meet up with you in a few minutes. He mustered a tender smile. Sure. Ah.